A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa. And as we kick off this edition of the news, let us inform you that parliamentarians have rejected the bill on access to reproductive health services for children under the age of 18. The draft bill granted those aged 18 and above lawful access to contraceptive methods. We do have the report.
While presenting the basis of this bill, Honorable Habimana Gamriel, the head of the group of 5 deputies who initiated this bill, noted that it aims to solve various emerging problems including teenage pregnancies. Research has shown that 92% of teenage pregnancies are the children between 15 and 18 years old. Hence, those in this age range should be given the right to contraceptive methods rather than waiting for the parents to make the call. Most of the MPs who commented on this bill noted that it needs to be redrafted because the drafters focused on preventing the effects of the problem rather than solving the problem itself. It is establishing measures to solve the problem that arises from families that have failed to take responsibility of their children. The family, as the primary institution, and other responsible institutions should rather collectively establish measures to deal with this problem. I don't think approving this bill would be useful. The other thing is that in discussions with those in the health sector, there is still a gap even for old people when it comes to using contraception, because 20 people can go to the hospital and be given the same medicine without any checkups. Some of the residents who spoke to RBA noted that they supported the bill, while others said that they wanted the existing law to remain in place. On my side, I cannot advise my daughter to take contraceptives, but that doesn't mean she won't do anything, because she might accidentally be impregnated, but when she takes herself, that cannot happen. It is not a problem if you take your child. I cannot support that children be given a lawful access. As a parent, it's your responsibility to take care of your children. On the other hand, reproductive health experts say that there is need for higher education campaigns for parents to take initiative in helping their children to have a healthy reproductive life. After the basis of this bill was rejected, Honorable Mbonimana Gamaliel, the head of the group that drafted it, noted that they are going to improve it and bring it back to the plenary session. Prior to this bill, the plenary session of the Chamber of Deputies approved the basis of the bill, agreeing to the ratification of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, which was signed in Montego Bay on December 10th, 1982. The deputies immediately approved the provisions of the bill that should not go through the committee, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who represented the government, had requested.
Investors in Rwanda's gold mining sector are hopeful that the country will soon have a modern industry which is expected to increase gold production from about 35% to over 75%. Additionally, Rwanda has a gold melting industry that melts gold at the level exceeding 99%, making it affordable on the global market. Adam Squizera.
Miove is one of the places where gold mining has been practiced since the 1920s. It is located in various districts, including the Chumbi, Burera and Rulindo, where mining was carried out in a disorderly manner for many years ago, up to 2018, when Ngari Mining took over. One of the directors of gold mining company in Miove, Alexander Umenyimana, clears the confusion for those who doubt that there is no gold in Rwanda.
Zahabu mu Rwanda irahari twatangiye kuhaza mu ntangiriro za 2018.
Yes, we have gold in Rwanda. Since we started to work here in 2018, then later They conducted a research which resulted to make Ngari plan to start mining activities here in Miove. Yet here there is gold, since you can't invest where there is no profit. There are 5 gold mining sites in Burera, Gicumbi and the Rulindo districts in northern province, but it's found also in Nendezi in Nyamashiti district and Rusizi district. The Miove industry receives sand that is expected to extract gold and filters 40 tons of this sand per day, where the average of gold found is 3 grams. One unprocessed gram is sold for $45, which is equivalent to 45,000 Rwandan francs. It is expected that soon there will be a modern industry so that the available production will be more than 2 times as explained by the Ngari mining officials. We are planning a processing plant project. Currently, we acquire almost 35% of the production rate, but the new way we will produce over 75%. On our agenda as Ngari, we are waiting for the equipments to kick off the activities. The efficiency of mining as a whole is increasing, both in terms of machinery and professional personnel acting in this field. On the other hand, individuals who work in the mining sector, notably those in Miove, appreciates the fact that these activities related to gold mining have enhanced their well-being. Many residents here got job from this mining firm. Even our settlement developed, since before it wasn't developed as today. Gold mining does not only end with purifying it where it was mined, since there is now processing and value-adding industry in Rwanda. It is an industry that has capacity to melt 450 kilos per day, making this gold production reach at 99.9%, where the price is at $65 per gram. This enables to be purchased at the best rates, which are typically established by the body responsible for setting precious metals pricing on the international market, London Metal Exchange. The chairman of the Rwanda Mining Association, Jean-Malik Karima, points out that those in the mining industry need enough capacity to set up other mining industries. Currently, we have an industry that melts cassiterite, where Rwanda now exports melted cassiterite. We now have gold industry that processes gold to be exported also. There is also a plan to build an industry that will process quartz and wolfram, so that depending on all those agenda we have, it requires efforts and also enough capacity for the investors, where they can also apply for loans to run it. Dr. Ivan Kwagirishema, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer, emphasizes the significant advantage of having a mineral processing industry in the country, since it provides them with a platform to participate on the global mining market.
When
you are at that level of extracting minerals, you don't need to go to process it away from the continent. So today, we have those who sell to us the gold, to our industry. So to be clear, as long as you have an industry, no one should ask you why you sell gold from other places. Same to European countries who don't even mine anything.
The
mining sector generated $412 million in 2019, $730 million in 2020, and $516 million in 2021 due to the impact of the COVID-19. This sector also needs investment in modern technology to increase the production rate and also reduce the wastage gold produced, which is currently at the rate of 60%. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adams. We'll now hit it to agriculture sector. Residents of Rusizi district have shed light to the shortage of tea seeds, posing as a hindrance to ongoing cultivation activities. Local officials have urged them to seek help of agriculture experts, all while advocating for those without land for cultivation. Precious Chidezi filed this report.
Tea plantations in Rutsiro district have been hard to maintain over the past few years due to the public perception that it's a ploy to exploit their land.
When cultivations first began, they feared that the government would retain ownership of the land. Seeds were disregarded often, and trees were planted to avoid tea cultivation.
With predetermined notions presently evolving, farmers have started to reap benefits like financial liquidity, which could be better articulated by Nsengiyumva Emmanuel, who now has a hectare of land designated for tea plantation, with plans to expand in the near future.
When I made the decision to start tea cultivation, I spoke to a friend into how much income the harvest of 1 hectare generates and decided to proceed thereafter.
As anticipation for tea cultivation increases, seeds continue to be in high demand in Rutsiro district, hence the scarcity only being able to facilitate 250 hectares of land.
Not having enough seeds is a problematic, especially when working on a deadline and not being able to deliver them on time.
The administration of Rutsiro district has highlighted their ongoing collaboration with the National Agriculture Export Development Board and the role it has played in deciphering solutions, which the Vice Mayor in charge of economic development has depicted.
We urge those with means to carry on tea cultivations. We have collaborated with NAYAB to assist those without the means.
There are currently 638.3 hectares of land designated exclusively to the cultivation of tea, and the expansion plan currently ought to bring an additional 270 hectares to the roster. Tea cultivation is not only good for the economy but also a key factor in preventing soil erosion. Precious Chirezi, RTV News.
On Monday, an exercise was held at King Faisal Hospital to prove the country's position in fighting and preventing the Ebola epidemic. The Ministry of Health says that even though the epidemic has not yet reached Rwanda, various institutions must always be prepared because the country has the capacity to fight the disease in terms of equipment and human resource. Nuriata Gasaro.
This exercise took place at Faisal Hospital, taking the example of a resident who came to the hospital and suspected that he had contracted the Ebola virus due to the symptoms he was experiencing since he had come from a high-risk area, Uganda. When he arrived at the hospital, he was received by doctors who usually deal with the emergency cases. He informed the doctors that the area he was from had Ebola. He found the doctors preparing the equipment and clothes, and he was taken to a special quarantine area to be tested for Ebola, as all the symptoms signaled that he had the disease. Dr. Imakire Kambutse, an internal medicine physician at King Faisal Hospital, says that this exercise proves that they are ready to treat anyone who feels they have Ebola symptoms.
So we received our patient from our accident and emergency. He was triaged, and then after fulfilling the criteria that would tell the healthcare worker that this is a suspect case of Ebola, he was immediately held in a self-contained room. And after that, with proper precautions, the healthcare workers took him to a temporarily holding area where they helped him with whatever treatment he needed, while waiting for confirmation of his laboratory tests and transport to the established Ebola treatment center.
In this exercise, a patient suspected of having Ebola symptoms and was tested and found to be infected. The ambulance rushed him to the Nyamata Health Center in the Bugesera district, which was designated to cater the infected patients. Rwanda's Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamije, noted that this health center is capable of receiving Ebola patients once cases appear.
Including the fact that we have this center ready to receive Ebola's patients. We are ready to receive all patients from the city of Kigali. We will bring them here. All the equipments are available and all the staff are ready, and medicines and other necessities are available.
Dr. Nyeshimana Minelas, Vice President of the Rwanda Medical Association and expert on the Ebola epidemic, says that while the disease has not yet reached Rwanda, the Rwandan government has already prepared in every way.
You don't just look at the border and inside the country, because the person can pass through one side and end up inside the country, which means that doctors must always be vigilant and screen everyone they meet, whether they are coming for treatment or a visitor. Because in such cases, if there is an alert like that, we must be cautious and do it at all borders and inside the country, where the doctors need to accessorize and treat. The equipment or medicines is collected for the minimum number of handling certain patients with the method they use, and they say that at least the first 1,000 patients should make a minimum stock or make projection that if Uganda has this worst disease, it means that next we come to you because disease have no borders.
Currently, a special place has been set up all along the border between Rwanda and Uganda, where the Ebola epidemic has been observed, as well as within the country, to receive people from the area where this epidemic has been reported and quarantine them for at least 21 days. Nuriat Agasaro, RwandaTV News.
As we move ahead to other matters related to ICT and technology, some of the university graduates say that training them on ICT-related matters is important in improving their competence on both the local and international job market. Betty Mutoni has this report.
Nadia Itetero and Higet Tunga are some of the 100 women who have completed their 3 months training on the technology. They say that they learned from the training that will help them to solve some of the problems affecting the Rwandan society.
Where you can reach places here in Rwanda that you can reach, and you still find them using books, while you can make a web application or a kind of software that can help them without writing in books. So we are there for them. We are there to help them.
I believe with the project that we created according to the SDGs that are existing, what I'm solving is that you are going to have this platform where if you don't know that there are competitions somewhere in this country, but you have an idea, there is this platform you can project all your thoughts, and then you're going to get different help, either financially on the idealization stage, because there are many people who have been in this thing before. So this is in that project, in that platform, this is where all those people are having ideas are going to start from, and then create an impact to the society.
Joseph Semafara, the Chief Executive Officer of Solvit Africa, noted that many of those who were trained managed to get jobs, and that some are now earning 800,000 monthly, and they are performing well in local and international companies.
Few women in tech, so we want to bridge that gap. Women are not really diving into technology that much, into software development, into jobs, into technology. So we're trying to bridge that gap. We're trying to bring so many women in tech. And also, these ones who are graduating, we are supporting them to put them on the market. Some of them are already got jobs. And it's only today is a graduation, and we've spent time together with them. So we have so many companies, so many partners that come to pick employees from here right away after the graduation. And after graduation, people are going to be placed.
Ambassador Saleh Habimana, the founder of Umbrella for Vulnerable, believes that with the collaboration with various sectors, Rwanda will be able to achieve its goal.
Private sector, civil societies together with the government, they plot to build this company. We were given it by the Gasabo district. That means the government with private sectors together with civil societies. The result are the great actions, as you can see.
As Rwanda is striving to be a regional hub in IT from 20% currently to 60% by 2024, there will be 100 IT companies in Rwanda worth between 20 to 100 million US. Betty Mutoni, RwandaTV News.
Some female investors in small and medium-sized enterprises believe that it's crucial to be closer to them, hence prevent their businesses from failing or collapsing. Adam Squizeda.
Masezerano Irene uses technology in agriculture and combines it with breeding, where she operates this on small land scale. Irene and Uwotwamba Zameri, a fellow chicken breeder, indicate some of their difficulties they face.
It is very hard for us to get the money since I started. I used to go to get a loan, and they told me that we need someone who already operates or has some money. But having all that as a girl, and who don't even have a land to sell, it's a problem. Yet the main challenge is money. When we are working in cooperatives, like us working in chicken farming, we meet some women who are very afraid to start up chicken farming, thinking that it is a very difficult project to run.
Government partners believe that family support is necessary for women's capacity growth, particularly those who are committed to invest in small and medium-sized businesses.
It's very difficult for a woman to be self-confident. That's why we need man, we need family, we need support, but we also need to be together and to speak together. So we try to create a community of women entrepreneurs to be not feared about of the entrepreneurship.
The national body responsible for monitoring gender equality development shows where the government and its partners should put efforts.
Ahantu hagikenewe imbaraga nyinshi cyane ni ukurandura imyumvire.
There are some places it requires a lot of effort to eradicate culture-based mentality, where we still have people who think that women are not capable, and yet we have equal potential. And if the country has established laws that protect everyone, it is important to remove anything that prevents women. And it is still important to increase the number of women in education of business studies, which can help them to start their own business, since it will also help them to compete for domestic and international level. Some women appreciate the government's commitment to gender equality as an important role in development. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
The Ministry of ICT and Innovation states that the government has different projects in place to facilitate the population in accessing different technological tools and provide guidance when necessary. The ministry says this as Rwanda is set to host the Mobile World Congress Africa next week. Prince Manzi has the report.
The Rwanda Utilities and Regulatory Authority demonstrates that in July this year, the users of mobile phones had 10,680,000 of SIM cards in total. These mobile phones are used in communicating, paying goods and services, funds transfer, among others. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of ICT and Innovation, Ivira Dukunda, elaborates on different projects in place to increase connectivity across the country.
As you know, when we think about administrative offices, most of them are now connected. But hospitals, schools, in particular schools, we have specific projects within connecting all schools that need more funding, more technology to make sure that all schools are connected. So there is a particular partnership between Government of Rwanda and GIGA. GIGA is an initiative by the International Telecommunication Union and UNICEF. So that's a project that is ongoing. We have one government network, OGN, ran under RISA. That is a specific project that has been ongoing to make sure that we connect schools, administrative offices. So those are specific projects in terms of what is already being done to increase connectivity specific to administrative institutions as well as schools. But we also have part of the World Bank Digital Acceleration Project that I mentioned, device financing. This is very important, as we alluded to it earlier on. In some cases, we have internet coverage or network coverage, but people may lack devices to access it. So device financing is very important to make sure that we also make it possible for people to access smart devices, particularly smartphone in this case, but also looking at tablets, computers, and other devices that enable the population to consume the internet.
Rwanda is set to host the Mobile World Congress Africa, the first to be held on this continent. Participants include the private sector entities as well as ministers of ICT from 50 countries across the world. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of ICT and Innovation, Iviradukunda, elaborates on what it means to Rwanda as the host of this Congress.
As I highlighted earlier on, Rwanda seeks to position itself as a leading ICT innovation hub with world-class mobile and broadband connectivity, and as a leader in digital transformation in Africa. So to host this conference, it really positions you as a country or as a host as the convener of global voices, such as the ministers of ICT, regulators, business leaders that influence mobile industry, and it really gives an opportunity to share experiences and debate and co-create solutions for challenges that we face in connecting the remaining unconnected population.
The 3 days Mobile World Congress Africa is set to commence on the 25th October this year with at least 2,000 participants. Prince Manzi, RTV News.
And on behalf of the entire news production team that made it happen, many thanks for being with us on this edition of Rwanda Television News. Up until next time, stay safe and have a fruitful week ahead. Goodbye.